So we've come here to visit the grave of Cecilia. I actually already found the grave, but had to walk away because as soon as I saw it, I started choking up, which is strange for me, but graves don't normally affect me like this, but this one did, and I will gather myself and take you to have a look. So guys, this video is about the abduction and murder of a 9-year-old girl called Cecilia Zhang. The information that I'm giving in this video has all come from the statement of facts read out during the court proceedings. Cecilia was a grade 4 student at Seneca Hill Public School. She was described as a happy, intelligent and well-adjusted child. Cecilia was the only child of Raymond and Sherry, and the family lived in Whitehorn Crescent. And Whitehorn Crescent is in North York in Toronto. The house consisted of 2 levels in the basement and 3 levels above. Her parents rented out rooms in the basement to Chinese visa students. So the family resided on the upper 2 floors, with Cecilia occupying one of 3 bedrooms located on the 2nd floor. And at the time of her abduction, she was using the east bedroom at the front of the house. The master bedroom was used by her parents, and that was on the 3rd floor. During the early hours of Monday, October 20th, 2003, Min Chen, who was 20 years old, climbed through the kitchen window at the home of Cecilia. He abducted her from the hallway near to her bedroom and dragged her out of the house. She was never seen alive again. Min Chen knew one of the female boarders who had lived at the home up until March 2003. He had visited the home several times. So on Sunday the 19th of October 2003, Cecilia went to bed around 10 p.m. and the rest of the family settled down around 11:30 p.m. One of the students in the basement awoke early in the morning of Monday the 20th of October as she felt cold. It was noted that the side entrance door of the house was open. At 6:58 a.m. and 7:48 a.m, Cecilia's mother was woken by her cell phone ringing. The first call, nobody spoke. The second call stopped before she had a chance to answer the phone. The calls could have come from a prospective renters, and calls were later traced to different locations in Brampton. A little while after that call, Sherry was told by her father, who was staying for a while, that when he went into the kitchen, he noticed that the kitchen window was open and the screen bent outwards. A shoe print was seen on the kitchen counter, and the door separating the students' quarters from the family quarters was unlocked. At around the same time as that, they found that Cecilia was missing from the house. She wasn't in her bedroom or anywhere else. The family searched the house before going to Cecilia's school in case she had taken herself there. She was normally accompanied on a walk to school, so it would have been unusual for her to take herself off. She was not at the school, and the family called the police once they had returned home to find her still missing. An Amber Alert was issued by the police, and the house was forensically examined whilst public searches took place. So fingerprints were found on the window screen and window A kitchen knife was found at the fence line near the rear corner of the house. A fingerprint was found on the tip of this knife. This fingerprint matched the fingerprint found on the corner beading on the stairway leading to the hallway where Cecilia's bedroom was located. So there was plenty of fingerprint evidence. Unfortunately, searches for the young girl went on for months, and it wasn't until March 27th, 2004 that her body was found. She was found in a wooded area near the Credit River off Mississauga Road, Eglinton Avenue. Police found no evidence of clothing on or near the body. Cecilia did sleep naked though. So police were working their way through the fingerprint evidence found at the house and were collecting samples of prints and DNA for elimination purposes. Having identified Min Chen as a visitor to the house, he was contacted for samples. He met with police in April 2004 and he willingly provided a statement, fingerprints and an oral swab. He also gave consent for his telephone records to be obtained by police. His statement to police gave some background information about him, and he admitted attending the address several times and the fact that he knew Cecilia and her mother from visiting the house. He stated he only saw Cecilia briefly on 2 occasions during his visits to his friend. Once his friend had moved out of the property sometime before Cecilia went missing, he stated that he never went back to the house. Remember, he was not a suspect at this time. So Min Chen became a suspect when those elimination prints taken from him matched the fingerprints found on the outer window screen, the outer surface of the window, the blade of the knife, and the corner beading on the stairway leading to the hallway where Cecilia's bedroom was located. Surveillance was set up and police started to look at him very, very closely. Here's what they found. He was failing in his studies. He was worried that he would lose his immigration status. He was depleting his financial resources. Shortly before the disappearance of Cecilia, one of his associates had arranged a marriage of convenience for him at a cost of $25,000. And this was so he could secure permanent residency in Canada. He was familiar with the area near to where Cecilia's body was found, and a police report showed that he and some friends were spoken to by police very near to that site in September of 2003, and he had visited that site on at least 2 occasions prior to October 19th. So in July of 2004, police met with Chen and told him he was their prime suspect and that they were going to arrange examination of his car. 2 days after this conversation, and whilst he was under surveillance, Chen visited 14 different car care premises within 2 hours. He was making inquiries into replacing the trunk liner of his car. Chen eventually left the liner with one business for cleaning, and police seized this liner for examination. The examination revealed a stain which had been cleaned with ammonia-based solvent, but no trace evidence was found linking the stain to Cecilia. So Chen was arrested July 21st, 2004, and he was charged with first-degree murder. In May 2006, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. And here are the admissions made by him. He stated that he never meant to kill Cecilia. He meant to abduct her and hold her for ransom. He needed the $25,000 so that he could pay a woman to marry him so that he could stay in Canada permanently. He had used the knife to try to pry open the locked door between the student quarters and the main residence of the house. He failed at that attempt and discarded the knife. He tried the patio door, which was locked, so he went to the kitchen window. He climbed a drain pipe, pried open the screen and opened the window. He went to the second floor, saw a light from one of the rooms, started to walk towards it. Cecilia had entered the hallway with a towel around her, and believing that she was going to scream, he grabbed her And this is tough to listen to be honest, it's tough to say it. But he grabbed her around the neck and head and placed his hand over her mouth. He then carried her out of the house. She had been struggling but had stopped struggling by the time he had reached his car and put Cecilia into the trunk of that vehicle. She was not moving at this time. He drove some distance away before stopping to check on her. He found she had stopped breathing, so he took her to where she was later found. Whilst the prosecution did not completely accept his version of events, they did accept his plea to second-degree murder. These are the reasons why they did so. So upon arrest, he exercised his right to silence. To go to trial and try to prove murder, the prosecution would need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Chen meant to kill Cecilia, or cause her bodily harm that he knew would likely cause her death, and was reckless where the death ensued. If this could not be proved, the verdict would need to be of manslaughter and not murder if he was convicted. There was no evidence regarding how or when Cecilia died. There was no forensic evidence linking Chen to her death. Cecilia's parents had asked the prosecution to avoid a trial if possible. Chen's guilty plea to second-degree murder would ensure a murder conviction and suitable sentence. So Chen was convicted of second-degree murder and he was to serve 15 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole even, and that took him up to 2019. I can't find anything to say if he's still in prison or not. At the time of his conviction, there was no extradition treaty between Canada and China. Interestingly, when he completes his sentence and is eventually deported to China, China can try him again. Chinese law permits, if Chinese resident commits a crime on foreign soil, trial and punishment in that other country is a mitigating factor, but does not preclude further imprisonment or execution. Another interesting fact, or for me it is that Chen was represented by criminal lawyer John Rosen, and John Rosen also defended killer and rapist Paul Bernardo, another notorious murderer from the area of Toronto. Check out the videos by Scott on Tape for the crimes of Paul Bernardo. I'll put some links in the description for that. So another very, very, very sad story. Another child taken from this earth far too soon. For what? For greed? Because that's what it was ultimately, wasn't it? Just greed. Let's go find her grave. So I'm kind of just sitting here hanging out with Cecilia. I mean, I've told you her story. I've been reading quite a bit about her. And do you know what? This is just one of them that has got to me. I am still trying to gather myself to take you closer to have a look. It's a beautiful, beautiful, well-kept grave. It says in loving memory of Cecilia Zhang, born March 30th, 1994. Thank you for sharing 9 wonderful years with us. Beloved daughter of Sherry and Raymond. Some lovely little things on her grave here.